Live from the internet and recorded on October 10th, 2016, this is episode number 26 of the Crystal Chronicles, your official, unofficial Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast. God, I finally did it all in one shot. My name is Pierre. I am joined, as usual, by my good friends. One of them is called Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Pierre. Hey, Dissidians. Hey, Twitchers.
And our new co-host, beginning last week and on with us for good because he's so good at this stuff, is Mino. Good evening, Mino.
Oh, good evening. Thanks. I am getting a little buzzed, but that should only make the show better, right? Let's do this.
So basically, Mino, as we all know, you were a throwaway gag for last week. The problem is that the fans, the community, started writing in masses about the fact that, did I say 2016 Red Slotus in the intro? I said 2016? Oh my god, this is
I don't remember.
So 2 years ago. Well, I'm not going to redo the intro. So I was saying, Mino, you were a throwaway guy, you know, the one-time host that we're going to have on, and the community started writing en masse. And it got to the point where, you know, they started saying, if Mino doesn't come back, this show is over. If Mino doesn't come back, we're not going to listen to you guys anymore. Twitch threatened to shut us down. Even, you know, Square Enix wanted to close down their accounts and steal our gems. So we figured, you know what? We're good people. We're humble people. We might as well just let the guy come back, and you know, it's going to be better for all of us because there again, he won't point out our mistakes in front of everyone in Twitch and all of that. So we're so glad to have you back with us, Mino.
Thank you, Pierre.
People,
what an honor.
Please release my kids. Hopefully they've had, you know, food in the last week. Or their daddies and their daddy and mommy really want to have them back home. So Mino is back with us. Please stop writing angry emails. Release my kids. Release my dog, and we're all good. Everything is good. The community won again. In more serious news, before we hit the game stuff, and I was talking about community a couple of minutes ago. There's a community thing called going on in the Dissidia Reddit called Extra Life, a call to all warriors of light. I will post the link in the show notes. This was posted by user Shira89 on Reddit. It's basically that the Reddit admins of the Dissidia subreddit have formed a super team where basically they're joining a Choco Bros collaborative. That is, you know, a collaborative team of multiple Final Fantasy subreddits that are raising donations for the Children Miracle Network hospitals. You know, just to give you an idea, last year, just these subreddits together with what they're doing is that they raised over $5,000 for these hospitals. I was joking a couple of minutes ago about, you know, my kids being held up in the by the community for Mino's great return with us. But at the end of the day, I have kids, you have kids, Mark have kids. I don't know about Mino. Most of our listeners have kids, and even if you don't, nobody is insensible to you know, what kids having diseases or problems or just, you know, any kind of glitch that can happen with these little widgets every once in a while. So please take 5 minutes of your time, put this show on pause. Well, obviously if you're not listening live, because that's going to be really hard to do. Go on to the show notes, look out for that Extra Life, a call to all warriors of light link, and go read about how you can participate and bring a you know, positive change, positive thing to all of these kids throughout the Choco Bros super team of the Final Fantasy subreddits group. So just wanted to point that out right away. You know, it doesn't get any more important than kids. You know, no matter the game we're playing, no matter what we're doing, real life kicks in first, and it doesn't get any more real than kids. This being out of the way, there were some announcement this morning about King, and we didn't plan this as a roundtable subject, so I might as well hit this right now. Have you seen on Reddit? There's a thread going on about how all 8 characters that got character adjustments as of late, and they're pretty much saying that Square Enix is ignoring Terra, and all of these character adjustments, because today King, because this evening we're getting a new event where King will be one of the 2 main characters, and this morning King got his own character adjustments. Basically, reload, the ability reload got some buff, the ability rapid bullets got some buff, and if you go on Reddit, I'm not sure if I'm gonna find it right now. Obviously, I should have planned this a little better. But they've been saying that, what Terra has been lacking. There it is. It's called Character Buff, and it says, I'll link this in the show notes. It says, thanks for giving character, then there's a square with Terra, not you, buff to stay relevant. And you've got the image of Ace, Sahz, Ram, Aerith, Terra, King, girl from Final Fantasy XI, I think.
Prish, right?
Prish, what's his face, and Zidane. Oh God, I know this guy. It's the bad guy from Final Fantasy X. This is so bad. I've got Magus. It's not Magus. That's Crow Trigger.
Seymour.
Thank you very much. So Seymour. So what do you feel about these recent character adjustments?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are really expecting the terror buffs early, but in my opinion, okay, so I don't know if you 2 have seen the official Square Enix stream, the last one. Josh said that, yes, Cloud is getting his buffs late.
Yes,
because in Japan, he had such a long run of being on top that they wanted to shorten it in global. And I think they're looking at the same thing with Terra here, because Terra originally got her buffs with her awakening. Like, that was part of her awakening package, getting her buffs. But a lot of people are looking at Japan's schedule and seeing that she got it before the new Lost Chapters, which we'll get into later this podcast. And I think people are confused and saying that they expected the buffs before with these Lost Chapters to help deal with these Lost Chapters. And we'll talk specifically about the tuning of the difficulty of that later. But I think the plan is and always has been to release these buffs with Terra's awakening, which they have confirmed is coming later this month.
So we're getting our first waves of awakening later this month. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that has been said on the record.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that would include Terra and Cloud and likely their buffs.
Yes, exactly. They're saving a lot of the Warrior of Light buffs, Bart's buffs, etc. Yeah.
That's pretty
well, yeah,
cool.
and people forget that we are on. It's hard. Yes, you can look at Japan. You can look and see how things unfolded in the Japanese game, but this compared to many other games that I have played that have a Japanese and a global version. The global version of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia is kind of its own thing, a little bit more so than in other games. Yes, we're kind of following the same schedule, but there's been some switches in schedules, and there's also been an accelerated pace, which Japan did not have. So,
well,
it's hard to look too much of that timeline.
Just look at the ballsy move that they did by bringing Sahz, 35 CP way ahead of time. And again, we might talk about that meta coming later, and by might I mean may, and I mean will. But it is so good to see, and we were a FFRK podcast for 60 something episode on season 1, and for all the good I have to say about FFRK, it was pretty much take the Japanese version, translate it, and just stick to the same schedule, to the same thing, have as least community engagement as you can. And I think that Dissidia FFOO took everything in the book of Final Fantasy Record Keeper and said, you know what, let's do the exact opposite. Let's mess things around, let's adjust it, let's adjust the meta, let's learn from our mistakes, let's engage with the community. So you know what? Kudos for what they're doing. We couldn't ask any more of that, and it's so good to know that people who are playing the Japanese version now, they just can't come and say, well, you know what, in 6 months, this is exactly what you guys are going to have. Shara89 on Twitch is asking, is the picture that we're seeing of Mino on our webcams right now is for real? It is actually. Mino doesn't. He talks a lot, but he doesn't move a lot, which means that he gets to keep these cool look throughout the entire episode. So it is the real Mino. Now that we've got that out of the way, we had an announcement drop just a few minutes before the beginning of the podcast. The global version of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia has finally reached 6 million downloads. Can you imagine that? No, wait, that's not coming out. Can you imagine? Can I have some help? Imagine all the people downloading Dissidia. My point is, we're all getting 6,000 gems for free.
You should have just sang it in the first place. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Please don't put bleach in your ears. I won't sing again on this podcast. I promise. So basically, in the next couple of days, maybe I'm not sure.
October 11th to November 4th, if you log in.
There we go. So wait, that's tomorrow, isn't it? So starting tomorrow morning, you have like almost a month to log in and collect your 6,000 gems.
So many gems.
It is, and that's a free draw. You know, free draw for you guys, basically with a free multi 11 items draw. That's what I was trying to say. So
plus some change.
These are plus some change.
Upgrade your inventory to 500.
There we go. Moving on with the events. So basically, the first thing, there's the permanent World of Illusion Odin that's on there, which, you know, it's just free gems for you guys if you've completed it. If you're new to the game, go on, collect your gems in the easy missions, and get the hell out of there. Boost Ifrit, boost Chocobo or Sylph, and then go back and do that thing. But for the love of everything that is holy, don't get Odin if you don't have Ifrit and or Chocobo and Sylph ready.
Yeah, well, I forget. How do we feel about Odin? I know we did all that when these came out. We talked about all of these summons, but I don't think I've ever actually used Odin.
I don't think we cared very much for Odin, to be honest. The only thing that we did care about is that this World of Illusion was a bit different, because the introduction scene featured somebody that we all know and love from Final Fantasy, was it like 5? And it's Gilgamesh. So that's the end boss we're facing in this World of Illusion. So as Mog says, that he can sense Odin's presence, and what would you know, he can also sense Gilgamesh presence, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. No, he doesn't mention it. I thought he did, but he doesn't. So how's the EX battle for Gilgamesh? Is it really hard? Is it?
It is not.
It's not?
I skimmed over it, Mark. You can cover this. I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, so bring 3 characters. Any 3 characters would be fine, I think. Maybe, one that's good, and then a couple others, and then you go in, and then you beat this one. Yeah, so you fight an Iron Giant who's not very tough, turtle that's flammable, a booster machine or it's a prototype, so it's even less powerful, and then poor Gilgamesh. I'm not going to say how many turns Gilgamesh got when I fought him, but it was less than 1. So,
all right, well, let's all think about that this evening.
Don't compared to some of the other content that is currently available, I do not think this battle is going to be very challenging to you.
It shows you how far the difficulty has come now, right? In like 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, did we have the
I don't
EX
I don't think
version?
this was very hard before.
That's
Yeah, no, there was. You had the EX battles before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all we have to say about Gilgamesh for now, which is not much because he's not super hard.
Someday we'll have more to say about him.
But what would you know? There's actually something to say about these new Lost chapters. In case you missed out, the Lost chapters for Ace, Seymour, and Sabin came out this week. So if you logged on Sunday expecting a new character to level up to the Cactuar with a K even, there was none. Except, well, of course, if you didn't get Ace, Seymour, and Sabin. So these Lost chapters came on with these two characters. Obviously, you know, there's plenty of gems to get out of these. In normal, there's not super hard. And then it brings you to the hard phase, which is for Ace, you've got the Raging Tortoise. For Seymour, you've got the Knight Behemoth. And for Sabin, you've got the Ghost Brothers, which are the exact same bosses in the case of Sabin that you had in the event itself. So let's go through these Lost chapters one by one. First off, you've got Unparalleled Power with Ace. The boosted characters are Bards from Final Fantasy V, Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, and Ace from Final Fantasy Type 0. Your comments, guys, how would you rate the... We're not going to talk too much about the normal battles. I think anybody can get through that fairly easily. I did, so it's a good argument to be made that anybody can do it. So let's jump on to the hard battles. What would you say is the best combination, and what would you say is the way to do it when you want to beat these bosses?
all right. Mark, did you get a chance to either dip your toes into this?
I have not done the hard on any of these. I was able to do normal in preparation for that on Monday, and I have not had any time since. So,
all right,
I apologize to the listeners.
I'll have to take the lead on this for now, but Mark has always been beating my scores lately, so I expect that when he finally gets around to it, he's going to make me look terrible. But let's see. For Ace, I would rate this the second hardest of the three. And the most controversial, because I'm sure you guys have noticed, the bring Ace requirement is only for this Lost chapter, not for Sabin, not for Seymour, just Ace.
Yes.
Let me see. The confirmed characters I've collected that have beaten this from all these different people are, of course, you're going to have Sahz. Of course, you're going to have Aiko and Papalimo. Pierre, so upset. I'm sorry. And then also, I've seen Kane and Irvine, as well as Yuna and Sarah. So I think the variety on this is pretty good.
But I'm gonna stop you right there.
Sure.
This is a boss that is weak to fire. So how does Kane and Irvine actually help in this battle?
All right, so let's cover the basic mechanics. The key here in this battle, apparently, is to keep the turtles broken as much as possible, because then they don't get any turns. And when they don't get any turns, if you bring a debuffer, those debuffs last for quite a while. For example, I brought Vincent. Oh yeah, Vincent's on the confirmed list. And then hitting them with that, 80% attack down, that lasts the entire fight for just one cast on each, because they just stay in their shells the whole time. Oh, and someone's reminding me to mention Cypher. I'll bring up the team. I'll bring up all the teams. But basically, you need a strong Brave Shaver to keep the turtles broken. You need, you were saying Irvine and Yuna, I believe, right? Once they're in the shell, they automatically take half damage from all damage sources. So having Brave batteries or people like Kane or Zidane with their free energy, they multiply their own Brave and then unleash it. That does way more damage than any Brave shaver such as Squall or Seymour. I mean, yeah, Seymour or Sephiroth will do. So you need people who can bypass defenses. Um, Debuffers, their debuffs last for a while. So those are all no-brainers. So the team I used was, what was it? It was, oh, right, Sahz, Aiko, and Vincent for the debuffs, the battery, and just the damage. And I have friends who are in chat reporting that I have a friend who used Irvine, Sahz, and Cypher to beat all three with the ranged weakness down. Cypher gets 60% damage boost when enemies are debuffed, and Sahz with his buffs, right? And he just killed all the LCs that way. So that was a pretty unique approach to it. And any strong Brave battery, such as Sarah or Yuna, can completely decimate this fight. The turn requirement's not so bad. It says 140 for the minimum clear, and I did it at 130. I thought I was screwed, but I cleared the score no problem. So I think as long as you come under about 130 turns, you should be perfectly fine.
And did you do an ace clear?
Oh, right. So what most people are doing is a secondary clear for ace just to carry him, because it's perfectly okay to not meet the score or turn requirement bringing ace. I brought Vincent and Sahz again because ace is already a very decent Brave shaver. He can take the turtles down no problem with a burst, and Vincent just keeps them from doing anything. Honestly, I think Vincent's the MVP for this, because the turtles got out of their shell and earthquake for 1 damage.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's very valuable. I was able to carry ace easily and meet the score, actually. And there were other strategies saying that if you need to, you can spend 100 gems for the revive, and the revive gives you full ability uses back and everything. It's only 100 gems, and what you get back is 1,000 gems for the clear bonus. So it's completely worth the sacrifice.
Perhaps a better investment than multi-draws to get. Now, do you have any of Ace's gear?
I had a single 15 CP 0 LB.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean,
Yeah,
that
so
was,
yeah,
I mean, with his synergy boost to his stats,
yeah,
that's really all you need. I don't even think you need that. With Vincent, the turtles can't do anything. You just take your time attacking them, and it's over.
Well, take your time. We're still talking about 130 turns. Just saying.
Well, there were 4 other waves before that.
True. That's true.
It's not all on the turtles.
But that's all I have. I don't think ace is as difficult as people think. A lot of people jump to the conclusion that you have to bring ace for the 1 run. If you break it up, it's really not difficult. It's more of a endurance test.
So
it just takes a long time.
Basically, the point here is get your best team, clear out the 2 first objectives and the score, then revive as many times as you need depending on the gear you have on ace, and beat the third criteria.
Yes. I mean,
hopefully just once.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Well, first of all, if you beat the score with your best team, I think you get all the the time limited rewards, right? I think the 1,000 gem completion you can take your time on. You can wait till your team's stronger.
That is not limited. You can do that whenever.
Yeah, and even if
because I just did Vanille like last month, so a couple weeks ago.
And even if you don't want to wait, you're getting 1,000 gem reward. So as long as you spend under that, you get a net you get a net gain of gems. So I really don't think it's as bad as people say, and I feel like the LC's only been out like 3 days. As time goes on, people will find easier solutions. Plus, you have to remember that we're getting 2 new characters and 4 new 35 CPs before the rewards end. We get Lena today, and we get Sid on Sunday. and that's a lot. They're definitely more powerful characters. Their later release they're 50/50 characters. They're going to be very strong for the LC, I promise. So people have patience. You have 2 weeks to work on this. There's no rush.
All right. Let's move on to Seymour's last chapter, The Spirit of Salvation. Basically, that Red Solus on Twitch does have a point. He says that you only miss one armor token if you don't do the ace requirement. So I guess that's more of a completionist kind of type of thing, where I gotta beat all of these criterias or I'm not hardcore. Thing. Basically, if you're willing to lose one armor token and what was it, like 1,000 gem, it might not be worth your time to do this.
And I want to bring up that if you've been keeping up with the armor tokens, I think we got one extra for the last event. Was it like the summer event or something? I have one extra armor token in my stash right now. I'm at 96.
You're at 90. You're at 96.
Yeah. Why is that a high number? Is that a high number?
Well,
you do know that at some point you're supposed to claim them, right?
I mean, I don't see the point.
Are you like saving them for a rainy day? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I'll use them when I get characters that.
Do the 90 CP armors use different armor tokens?
No, they use the same ones.
Oh, son of a...
And you have
maybe I should be saving them.
You have to have an MLB 35 CP armor to even buy the 90 ones.
Oh, okay. So
you should be using. Yeah, use them as you can. I'm just saying, I save them until a character needs CP, and that just doesn't happen with me a lot. So I have 96 of. I don't know.
It doesn't happen a lot because you don't farm artifacts, or.
Because I don't ever need that extra CP, I guess, for the characters. I mean, I'm a firm believer. We can get into this later, but a lot of people are very hardcore on artifacts. I'm very lazy on artifacts. I do not farm artifacts. I know they're very strong, but I've never needed artifacts to clear content.
Okay, you just took away my one reason about why I don't think I'm able to clear content.
Pierre thinks that's the only reason.
That's the only reason. But I mean, I've talked about this on this show many times before, and we're not going to get into this. I just want to, rehash again. We have a lot of new viewers tonight on Twitch, so when I try and clear hard content, by like half of the fight, I'm running in fumes. I've got no abilities left. I'm getting trashed left and right. Maybe, you know what, and I've said this last show and I'll say it again, at some point, maybe even this week, because I've got not much to do being at home, I might just do a live feed of me getting trashed by these mobs and try and figure out what I'm doing wrong. Because obviously...
I think people would love to see that, Pierre, honestly. Like, if you do a live stream and people can just watch how a content creator plays the game, they would have a blast.
Well, see, here we go. There's your Ines on Twitch right now. He says, if I check support and they don't have artifacts, I will take someone else. So see, I thought artifact mattered.
It makes you stronger. I'm just saying I've never lost content and said, I wish I had artifacts. When I lose content, I'm like, I played badly, I can play better. I don't automatically assume I need 108 more attack.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's move on because I don't want to drag this on my poor playing abilities. The Spirit of Salvation Part 10, where you fight King Behemoth, which is a very cool looking behemoth in a suit of iron armor. There again, you fight actually two of them, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
All right.
It's pretty. People say, I don't know. A lot of people have been saying they've had trouble with this, but in my opinion, I think this is the easiest of the three. So if you're having trouble, start on Seymour first. I've had a lot of reports come to me saying that they can beat Seymour's but no one else's because no Sahz. So Pierre, you're in luck because a lot of people are clearing this without Sahz.
Stop trying to bring that point on. It's planned for later in the show. Don't get me started. Okay. Seriously speaking, so this the mission criterias again. It's you don't have to use Seymour to clear this whole thing. You only have to take 18,500 HP damage or less. What was your number one go-to team to do this? Sahz, Aiko, and who?
Oh yeah, you got me. I used Sahz and Aiko for everyone, and then just subbed in the character depending on the LC. I took Vaughn because I did not take this LC seriously, and I was justified because I took Vaughn, and then I brought a Vaughn assist, and I had no strategy. I went in, hurt them to half, summoned, had both Vaughns just spam. The second skill that I forget the White World. They just spammed it and like destroyed both behemoths, and that was it. So I don't know what mechanics they have. I don't know what special skills they have. All I know is 2 Vaughns with Sahz buffs will kill a behemoth flat out.
All right, that'll do it. So if you're looking for a Vaughn to help you out here, keep in mind that Mark's support character is a fully limit broke Vaughn. His friend ID can be found in the show notes in case you need it. So just friend him and use his Vaughn at your Hertz content. So
and sorry, while Mark has to step away, I also wanted to bring up that I think anyone who's been trying the LC, there's a particularly difficult fight that I found harder than the actual boss fight, which was Seymour Quick Encounters 5, where you have to kill these. You know the ones, right, Pierre? The ones where it's a single wave fight.
Yep.
And you have to clear it with an insanely high score. Yeah. Oh yeah, you have it on screen right now. It is ridiculously difficult. And talking to other members of the community, they had more trouble with that than the actual boss fight.
These fights are extremely annoying, especially like the quick encounters. See, I have Quick Encounter Part 5 up right now, and I can't, for the life of me, clear out the score target.
Oh, right. So I wanted to talk about that really quick. Yeah, I see your score. You just came right close. So this took me longer than
and that was in four turns. I didn't get broken anything, and if I'm not mistaken, the team you see right there is the exact team I've used to clear all of the trash content of these 3 lost chapters. You've got a fully limit broke Kuja, fully limit broke Pabalimo, fully limit broke Squall, Ifrit, and I can't for the life of me break the freaking score on this quick encounter.
So, I've seen that exact same team clear. Maybe you might want to try a faster summon. I've seen a lot of strategies. I remember I went to the Discord channel and asked people how they beat it, because how I beat it was I took Cloud, Cecil, and I think a fast character like Lightning. And I only took Lightning so she can go first and then summon a big hitter like Sephiroth, right? So all I did was launch back to back to build up my quick summon, and then summon as soon as possible and then kill them. And it took a lot of resets to get the right turn order, and it was ridiculous. But I know a lot. Huh? What?
By the time you summon, I mean, you've already used more turns than you're supposed to get a good score.
I think I did it in 4 turns. How I did that was I would launch, and then I would, depending on who's going to get hit next, I'll HP attack. So I let someone get broken on purpose. So it's a lot of taking breaks and launching to get the summon up by turn 4. And plus, launches and launch kills will get you extra points.
Yep.
So that's how I did it. A lot of people said they had an easier time with a pure AoE team, like Cypher, Kuja, and Irvine or something, or Maria. Or they had like a really heavy-hitting single-target team like Sephiroth, Squall, and Pabalimo. best of luck to you, Pierre. I think you have the tools to do it, but it is a pain in the ass, and there are a lot of great strategies. But I thought this was the real final battle for Seymour's LC, and it looks like Chad agrees with me because
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
a lot of comments.
Absolutely. And for these fights, I usually make sure that I bring that all of my characters have at least one HP attack so that I don't quote unquote waste turns on brave
Right,
only attacks.
right.
But yeah, I'm gonna try it out later because I've got a good Cloud and I've got a good Cecil. At least I think I do.
Looking at your team, I think you can do it. You have MLB, Kuja, Papa, and Squall, and you say you don't have any meta characters.
Well, I've got Lightning, but she's past meta now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Lightning is now summon fodder for Sephiroth. Sephiroth's so slow, Lightning's so fast. You get her the turn and you call in Sephiroth.
So the technique now is to bring a fast character like Kuja or Lightning, but then just throw them away to bring your support character right away. That's what I'm getting.
I think so, actually, because while I also use Sahz and Eiko for each LC clear, I also always brought a Sephiroth assist because Sephiroth is very, very strong right now. Although I think a Vaughn assist would have been better for Ace's LC. Just putting that out there to everyone that told me Sephiroth's better, I think Ace hurts the turtles a lot more than Sephiroth. But yes.
That's some pretty good strategy right there. I'm going to keep that in mind. All right, let's move on to the Runaway Prince with the Ghost Brothers. So in that particular event, obviously you don't get like twice the fun because you've already have 3 mobs. So I guess the mechanic here has to be a bit different because you still fight the same 3 mobs, the same 3 Ghost Brothers, but they probably have a shit ton more HP and abilities. So how does that fight go down?
Oh, this one was a nightmare. This one, I think, was by far the hardest because here, you have it on screen. What's the turn requirement? They say 150.
150 turns.
To get the score challenge, you need to clear it under 70 turns.
Holy!
So under half of what they say. So this one, there's actually a lot to talk about. This one, here. I hope you're settled in. But this was, I think, by far the hardest LC we've seen. Maybe harder than Vanil's. Maybe just because Vanil's is so easily clearable now. And this one, I've only also seen like 4 characters with a confirmed clear. But so how this works is you have 3 Ghost Brothers. They each spam a brave attack called God, I can't believe I can't remember. Is it Dark Passage? Can you check the enemy's stat?
Yeah, it's Deep Hatred, Dark
Deep
Bargain.
Hatred. Yeah, I don't know what I
Deep
said.
Hatred.
But Deep Hatred hits for around 5k brave,
Wow.
which is monsters, and they'll just keep spamming that until they can HP attack and kill somebody right off the bat. So how the Ghost Brothers worked, and I had to have someone tell me this because I did not know how this mechanic worked at all. In the original event and the earlier stages, if you bring them to 2/3 health, about 65%, they'll lose the ability to spam Deep Hatred.
Yeah,
And that's what you're supposed
they'll
to do.
wail if I'm correct.
Wayne, right?
Wayne, well, it says wail here, but
Whale
oh,
is a
Wayne,
power-up
right?
Yeah.
Wayne suspends Deep Hatred when HP drops below a certain amount with 2 allies standing.
Yes, that's the one. So the threshold for the earlier stages was 2/3 HP. For the final stage, it's half HP. And so what they want you to do, I think this mechanic's encouraging you to take them down all equally. So they want you to do HP damage to each of them without straight up killing one. And that's the trick. You really have to do that because if you kill one early, their Deep Hatreds are going to start doing like 7k damage, and you just can't stand up to that. But once you get them all below half, they start hitting a lot less hard, which is the key. And what is the strat? Okay, so this one is you have to not be afraid of using skills, which Mark will say. He's always a big fan of that. he always says use all your skills on the trash waves, because there's a really tough fight in the middle here with a zoo and a dragon, I believe.
Yeah, you've got a Garuda, which is a zoo kind type of bird, and you've got a red dragon. So I
Right,
guess
right.
that's wave number 3, right?
Yeah, and they take a lot of time. I've seen a lot of players on Reddit saying they don't know how to get past it because they're saving all their skills for the final round, and they enter it late. Because, like I said, you need to beat this under 70 turns. And so a lot of people are just doing Brave and HP attacks throughout the whole thing. It's taking them way too long. You need to spend everything you have to kill. The Dragon and Garuda stage takes longer than the actual boss stage. So you really need to spend skills to blow through that as fast as possible. Um, the highest turn rate I've seen enter this and complete it successfully for you viewers is 43.
Wow.
43 turns is going into the final wave is the highest I've seen complete this successfully. I myself did it in like 10 less than that or something, just because I wasn't afraid to blow skills. And the trick here is to, as long as you distribute, I brought a Sephiroth summon once again. I brought them all to about red health fighting normally. Then I summoned, spammed Sephiroth to kill them one by one before the summon was over, so they couldn't attack. And that's how I did it. But the big trick to this whole thing is please use your skills on the trash wave. The hardest part about this fight is getting to the final wave with about 30 turns left to finish the whole thing.
All right. That's pretty impressive. But what makes you think that they decided to I just screwed up the video here. Sorry about that. What makes you think that they decide to put in the missions 150 turns if for the score you need 70 turns? That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I have no idea. That was the biggest complaint, actually, because usually when I finish in LC under the turn requirement, I feel like I'm going to get the score no matter what. Aces, I came in 10 unders and got it. It was no problem. But for this one, I finished in 80-something turns the first time. I thought, wow, I did a good job. Thank God for MLB Sabin. And it turns out I wasn't even close to the score. So after doing some research, some friends that cleared it said under 70, and I really had to I have no idea why that is. I don't know how the testing at Square Enix goes, but obviously they must have something in mind. I think the actual turn requirements are very lenient, because I think most of the time when you beat content, you meet the turn requirement without even trying, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to the score challenges, they're targeting the most hardcore players with the most decked out characters. So I wouldn't feel bad if you miss out on score challenges, because they're honestly all extra. The Japanese version of this game didn't even have these time limited score bonuses, double armor tokens and 300 gems, until the next set of LCs for
Okay.
Thancred, Kryl, and Snow.
Which is the next wave in what month?
We'll probably get it, what, in a month or two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Mark, would you like to go through the banner evaluation for the last chapters?
Yeah, so have we had half price banners for lost chapters before, or is this new?
I think it's
we
new.
had it for the last one.
Did we?
We had it for the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Ace, Seymour, and Sabin. I don't know. What do you guys think about these? You know, Seymour's kind of the mage version of Titus. Both of them are kind of outclassed right now. I know we had some differing opinions about Sabin. He does have his niche, fighting lots of ghosts. Really, that's his niche.
He saved me for this DLC. I'll say that.
Yeah, pretty much this particular last chapter, Sabin is great. Yeah, and then Ace is kind of like Kuja, who's not AoE and doesn't do as much damage.
That's fair.
So, I'm not super big on this banner. I don't think this is a must do, but it's 2,500 gems. So
I know I saw on Reddit people saying don't pull on this banner only for what was it? Ace's 35 CP. Like the point was that you might end up with Seymour and Sabin's gear, which is kind of garbage moving forward anyway, so there was not much point to it. Solzer18 in Twitch is asking which lost chapter is Sabin good in with the Ghost. The answer would be the Ghost lost chapters, which is Sabin's lost chapter.
And Echo's, but that was easy anyways.
Yeah,
yes, yeah, Echo's, she would, yeah, help there too.
I mean, Sabin was good against Ghosts. I remember having him and using him a lot back when it was his event, and then he went away, and I sold his weapon because it was he was irrelevant. And if there's one thing that's kind of sad about this game is the fact that so many characters are irrelevant once they their event are no longer useful. So, but that's something entirely different. So we're not going to get into that tonight. But we are. So I guess that kind of covers it for the lost chapters.
Let me add in one last thing. Is the confirmed characters to clear Sabin was Tortoise is in there, so Tortoise is still relevant. I agree with a lot of people saying he's been an amazing investment since the beginning. That speed down apparently really helps against the brothers. Tortoise is confirmed. Irvine's confirmed. Cypher is confirmed. Sabin, of course, is an MVP in his event. Sahz, Echo. There's a lot of variations you guys can try, but definitely people have been getting creative. And even though it's the hardest fight of the 3 LCs, I think it's also the most balanced because I've seen the most different characters clear it. Confirmed. Oh, sorry. That's all I wanted to add. We can move on.
No problem.
Did we remind people too that there is a treasure hunt, World of Illusion treasure hunt, that goes along with the lost chapter? So don't forget to do that. And
no, you're right.
It's about 2,000 gems if you run through all of those and clear all of those. So.
Wait, what treasure hunt? What?
Well, if you go to World of Illusion with the lost chapters, there is a treasure hunt, I think they call it.
Yep.
Yeah, let me see.
With the artifacts, got it.
Yeah, it's
the World of Illusion treasure hunt
here.
Lost chapter. And so if you clear all of that, it's a little over 2,000 gems. So takes about one stamina refresh.
Thanks for that reminder. I never farm artifacts, and I've been farming this for Warrior of Light just because I like him and because he's in that first wave of awakenings, guys. Get on it.
All right.
He is.
So before we drop the lost chapter subject entirely, let's talk about a controversy regarding these lost chapters. So we talked about Sabin, and we talked about Seymour, and we talked about Ace, and we talked about the curveball that Square Enix sent us in the Ace event, which is the mission criteria: have Ace in your party. Now, I'm not a tinfoil kind of guy. I'm not going to say they're out for money. But guys, if this is not by far the biggest reach Square Enix has done to get us to spend our hard-earned money in draws to make a character relevant, I don't know what this is. The way I see this is that, hey, you know what? You might not have cared about Hayes, but if you want to complete this, you might need him. So, what would you know? We've got his draws over there, so why don't you spend your paycheck and get his weapons? Again, I don't know about you guys, but that's the way I'm looking at it. And
this will become the regular event, right? I mean,
will they? Will they change the HP requirement to say you got to use a lost chapter character?
Well, okay, so let's cover this. So, the last few days, I've been running around doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of people. I've talked to the data miners and the JP vets who have gone through this, and there's a lot of opinions on this subject, basically. Obviously, on the subreddit, a lot of people have complained about this ace requirement, saying, just like you, Pierre, that Square Enix is bleeding the players. They want you to pull for Ace, even though he's a garbage character, which I don't necessarily think is true, just to get these limited time rewards. But from what I've seen, so first is the JP player. So in JP, Ace's LC did not have this requirement. The requirement was don't take any breaks. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and anyone who has played the JP version knows that that's even worse in terms of difficulty. Have you faced these turtles? When you do, those water bursts that are hitting for 5K and those earthquakes, um, taking no breaks is a lot harder than carrying Ace through once. So I believe that they tuned this because they say they often tune the content that they found was unfair in JP. When this released in JP, apparently there were a lot of complaints that taking no breaks in Ace's LC was insanely difficult. This was like the second coming of Vanille's LC.
Okay,
The
wait.
one that was so impossible that
Okay.
only a small percentage of players completed it.
Wait,
Right?
I'm going to stop you right there. So, are we
Sure.
having a Final Fantasy 4 moment where they release game A for the Japanese crowd and then they water it down for the American crowd when they release Final Fantasy 4 as Final Fantasy 2 in the US and Canada? Or do you think they came to the realization of, wow, this is, whoever thought that, let's fire this guy because this is just freaking crazy, and find a way to make the mission criteria more relevant and harder without making it just insane.
Right. I'm going to lean towards the latter there. If they really cared about giving us an easier version of this game, they would not have given us early heretics and X battles in the events, right?
Absolutely.
Those are
Absolutely.
insane, right? Sephiroth X took me quite a bit of effort. I hate to, I picked this game up because it was supposed to be casual fun, and then all of a sudden, some of these X battles are actually taking me time to invest in and think about. It's ridiculous. So I don't think they're trying to dumb the game down. What I do think is that from my limited interactions with like the Square Enix representatives and my posts that do a lot of predictive work is that they know what failed in Japan because we have the gift of seeing how Japan played out. We know who's meta, who are we going to pull for, who are we going to pass for, is this character garbage? They've been shaking that up in global since the beginning, right? For example, nobody wanted to pull on the Tidus Sahz Steiner banner that came out in the beginning of the game. Nobody wanted that. And then they threw in Tidus's 35 CP. All of a sudden, everybody wanted that. Nobody wanted to pull on Prish or Ferris. And they're garbage without their 35s, let's be honest. And they threw those in, everyone wanted them. Same with Vincent, same with Papalimo. That's the sleeper hit of the year for global. Same for a lot of these characters. They really know what they're doing. I think, as sad as it is to say that the JP version is sort of like a beta test, and because
Oh.
especially since they want global to catch up, right? They
Oh,
want us
you're
to
not
become
gonna
the
make
same
any
game.
friends with that statement right there.
But they want our games to become one eventually.
Yeah.
That's something they've said time and time again. So I think that they saw what didn't work in Japan and they're tweaking it for global for a smoother experience. Whether or not they're successful is a different story, but I think that they're trying to make it a better experience the second time around. And with that, with the ace requirement, not only are they trying to make things easier because the no break requirement in the original was complained about a ton, but this is an introduction, like people in chat have said, going forward, all LCs and events are going to require this. Event X's and all LCs are going to ask you to bring the featured character. I
Okay.
feel like not only did they give us an easier condition in global, but this is a way for us to be introduced to the concept. They're telling us, hey, you should start getting used to bringing the featured character. Not like in Japan where they just dropped it on them with the next LC, right? The next LC launched all three. They're like, bring the characters. I'm sure people would be more outraged if all three, Ace, Sabin, Seymour, all dropped and said, you have to bring all these characters. But they're testing the waters and introducing it to us with one LC at a time. That's how I see it.
All right. Mark, any opinion?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting that unlike a lot of mobile games, they want to catch up to Japan as opposed to just having one version of the game where they can then cut and paste into another version of the game with minimal work on their end, translation, etc. There's no voice acting, so that's easy enough. So it's basically just translation. But Square's decided to try to bridge the gap and eventually have one congruent game. So that takes a lot more work, very truthfully.
Yeah, I agree. I respect the staff for it. And I'm not sure if I said in the beginning, but again, conferring with the data miners, we actually got an easier version of these LCs than Japan did. And again, as a reminder, Japan never had these extra rewards as a limited time offer. This is all extra for us. So don't feel bad if you miss it. And also, they aren't just throwing content at us. They're balancing it for us. Talking to some of the more prominent data miners in the community, the enemies in the LCs we got are actually lowered in stats and level from the Japanese version. So they are trying to make it more fair for us.
All right. Speaking of fair, let's talk about the curveball that Square Enix sent to us global players a few months back, and the fact that, from what I can tell, and from what I've been telling with Mark, saying what he used to clear events, and from what you're telling that you used to clear events, let's just go out loud and say it. Is Sahz a requirement to be able to clear content? Can you clear content in a viable way without Sahz? Do you see yourself clearing these harder fights, whether it's the lost chapters or the EX battles or all of that, without Sahz? Because even when you open a co-op and say wanted boosted characters only, you are going to be incredibly lucky if you make it in that battle without one Sahz. He's everywhere. He's the kingpin. He's the meta master. So my question out here is, now that we know that it's not because of artifacts that I cannot clear content because Mino shot that theory down, let's go with my second excuse. Is it because Sahz makes it, he's almost a requirement to get through the harder content?
Well, my assumption, and I could be 100% wrong, my assumption, and I would love to meet some of these people who are actually playtesting this stuff, because the community folks, that's different. That's a different group. I'm almost 100% sure. My assumption is, like for the Lost Chapters, that they should be playtested with the characters that are boosted.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, most of us do not have the investment of those particular characters in that particular order. So Bart's VV, Ace, fully limit broke, should be able to beat Ace's event. I actually think Warrior of Light, Sabin, and Rem could beat that event.
I agree. I agree.
Well,
it's just because Rem just doesn't have a 35 yet,
Right.
and everyone else does.
At least 2/3 of them. I didn't say they'd beat it well, but eventually they'll definitely be able to beat it, right? But yeah,
Right.
and then Terra, Seymour, Shantoto. So I mean, my hope would be that no, Sahz should certainly not be a requirement, and Sahz should not be. They should not be playing the game based on whether you have one character or not. That's kind of silly. So I don't think everything should be scaled, or probably I don't feel like everything is scaled to Sahz. He obviously makes certain things easier, although I think there are probably other ways. It's just a matter of, if you have Sahz, are you taking the time to not use him?
Can I ask you a question, Mark? For all this hard
you want
content, have you beat anything without Sahz?
Be honest.
I'm not sure. Let me go back and look and see if I've beat anything without Sahz.
the only
while Mark is looking, Pierre,
the only fact that you need to look for it is a testament enough that
well, I beat Ramza's EX without Sahz, right?
Wasn't that before Sahz came along?
No, I think that was after Sahz.
Oh, okay. But I'm actually interested in hearing Pierre's opinion, because Pierre, if you guys don't know, did not pull Sahz. So Pierre, what is your outlook on the meta as a Sahzless player?
Well, being Sahzless, just to give you an idea, I was kidding earlier about how, even the wanted boosted characters co-op, if you don't have Sahz, well, you'll actually end up with one Sahz, and I will never, even when I host a wanted boosted characters only co-op match, I will never refuse a Sahz, because at the end of the day, the scores you'll get, the numbers you'll get, the bravery, the maximum bravery score you'll have are going to be so much more powerful because of him. So it's hard to imagine walking into any kind of fight without him. And again, I've mentioned this a few times before. One of my biggest problems right now clearing harder content is by half of the fight, I'm running in fumes. I'm out of abilities. I'm out of. I don't deal enough damage. I don't deal. And when you look at Sahz and his buff that he gives to all of the other players for, what is it, like 12 turns, appears to be such a game changer that, when you combine that to a character like Aiko that, can take almost any character and take their bravery from close to zero to close to top, I've seen the magic. I've seen the how it works, and maybe it's the fact that I keep telling myself, well, you know what, you can't get through that, but if you had Sahz, you would beat that fight. And even, you know what, I remember a few shows back when the last chapters for What's Her Face, the last stop chapters that we had, Mark was saying that, you know what, if you go into Vanille, if you go into Setzer, if you go into Squall with Sahz, you'll clear these fights without even thinking about it, the hard fights. So maybe it's the fact that it keep being pushed in your head, and you look at Reddit and you look at everything, and you know what, I would be tempted to say, show me one post where Sahz is not in the party, and I'll show you one liar.
So Palom was Mischievous Black Mage, right?
Yes.
Yep.
The Palom event?
Yeah.
So I beat Palom with Kuja, Papalumo, and Yuna. So
okay,
Aiko,
I'm impressed.
Aiko summon. So there's one.
I wanna shout out Pierre in response. There's been a player going by Compute Vision on Reddit who does not have Sahz, just like you, and is clearing, maybe not completing, but clearing the all the X's and LC's with Galoof 35 with a tank, saying that
nice.
The tank is carrying her to the win.
Nice.
Not a complete, but just being able to finish the game, the fight with the tank, I think is a viable option there.
Guys, I'm just going to stop you right there. We're going to make a short pause. It's 10:03 Eastern Time right now. The Lena event is out, and there's a new thing that came out in the store. It's the Remza costume that just came out in the gem store. So basically, for what is it, $51.99? That's US dollars. It's probably close to $35.99. Sorry, $51.99 Canadian dollars. It's probably close to $35.99 US dollars. You can get 9,000 gems and Remza's extra costume, which is come on, stupid image, load. I had it half a second ago, now it won't load for some reason. You guys have the name of that costume?
Virtuous Mercenary.
Thank you, Virtuous Mercenary. So
look at all the virtue of that mercenary.
Ah, there we go. Here it is.
How could you call him a heretic?
So there we go.
So are you getting that right now?
I don't know. Just for the kicks of it.
I'm debating it. I kind of want the costumes.
Did you guys get the unit costume?
I got the unit costume.
So, but I'm not sure I care about Remza as much as I care about Yuna.
Hey.
All right, guys. I did my first multi-pull. All I got was a King 15 CP. So fuck this banner too. I'm done.
Are we doing that? Like, okay, let me pull. So
are we pulling on this banner?
I guess we are now.
I've gotten garbage for my last couple of pulls. It's always been dupes. Like I haven't gotten any new weapons on any of the new characters or any of the new 35 CPs.
All right, so here's my pull. Here goes nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
How do we feel about Lena?
Oh, okay. So 6, 3 stars. 1, 2, 3. That's not good. 4. Okay, so it's only going to be 1. Garbage.
Yes.
If you get something good, I'm gonna be really.
No, I got Broadsword, which is Ramses 15 CP.
Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't have that, so that would have been a win for me. But congrats.
So you know what? Remza costume can probably suck it, but.
So I'm gonna beat. So the challenge will be for me to beat this EX with Ramza instead of Sahz. Correct?
I guess sure. Yeah, go for it.
But you have a MLB Remza?
Oh yeah, of course I do. Okay. Why wouldn't you? Of course.
Awful. I mean, I'm probably gonna fold and get the Ramza costume. I'm not close. Oh, so for a preview for Lena, I'm sure we'll go into in depth with it next week. We'll have a double event. It'll be Lena and Sid are both out. But right now, the consensus on Lena is her big niche is she can give the party 100% debuff evasion. So if you ever want to not get debuffed at all, pull her 35 seat. That's her big niche that no other character can do.
So are there going to be times that you're going to get a debuff that you can't Asuna?
I don't think that's come up yet, actually.
In FFRK, that was a thing. So you had the ability to remove debuffs with Asuna, but then you had I forget what they called it, Astra, which prevented the debuff from happening. And so there were situations where you wanted one over the other. Yeah,
for now, I'm not sure if DFFOO ever has that yet, but I know that this Lena giving 100% debuff evasion is amazing. I'm sure some people will love that. The other thing is that she gives an HP regen in between Pinello and Eiko. So it's actually a very strong regen. Not as long lasting as Eiko's, longer lasting than Pinello's. But basically, she's a very good regen healer. And those are her two big things.
Cool.
We'll get into that next week. But we got sidetracked here. What the hell were we talking about again?
The fact that I'm weak of mind and got Rem's costume.
You got it already? We were... It took like 5 minutes. Are you kidding me?
So, yeah, let's pretend that didn't happen. We were talking about Sahz and the fact that Mark will try to beat content without Sahz, and I will pretend from now on that it's not a requirement. And
right, the Sahz thing. So did you finish telling your side of the story about how you feel Sahz is pretty necessary?
well, I feel that you just in one show invalidated my 2 claims of why I can't beat content. So let's just.
Next time we'll get a live stream of you playing, right? So we can see what's going on.
Well, you know what? Friday I've got nothing to do. My wife's not home. My kids are not home. So I will.
I'd love to see that. I'd tune in.
I will do this, and I will do it on the Crystal Chronicles stream. So.
Sounds good. For me to weigh in, I'm actually a little in between both of you, so I think it's great that I went last. Is that while I have seen many people clear without Sahz, when they did it, they still had many meta characters. For example, this set of LCs, I've gotten clears with. I mean, I've gotten people reporting clears without Sahz at all, but all the clears still had two of the 3 of Eiko, Papalimo, or Sephiroth. Always 2 of those 3. So, I mean, I think meta is still important. Like Mark was saying, they probably do balance it with the 3 boosted characters for the event. But it's unrealistic that you have all the boosted characters, so you kind of need some high-tier characters that are going to carry you. So I think having high tier is always going to be a thing. But I also think that there are lots of people without Sahz clearing this content. And by lots, I mean probably not that many. But it is very possible.
Of the 6 million downloads.
Yes. I believe it's very possible. Sahz definitely makes things easier. Let's not lie. I think everyone can agree Sahz makes things easier, but I would not say he's a requirement. And I believe that if we help you out, Pierre, we can get you a couple of clears that you didn't think was possible without Sahz.
So you're telling me I have to beat Lena EX without Sephiroth, without Papalimo, without Sahz, without Eiko?
No, we were just saying without Sahz.
No, challenge accepted.
Yeah,
just
right? Like,
without any MLB characters.
Balanced around Sahz, and if you can beat it without Sahz, 2 or 3 other meta characters, I think that should prove the point that you don't need Sahz.
I'm going to use all 3 characters without their equipment and see how that goes.
Especially with the Sephiroth banner out right now. Sephiroth and Eiko are super meta right now. Vincent's not bad at all either. I believe that everyone has the tools right now to pull a meta team that can clear all content.
All right. So look out for that stream on Friday where I'll open my books, show you what I have in terms of gear, and invite the community to roast me BFFOO style. Please don't attack my looks or my...
Well, it would help if you didn't play the EX battles on auto battle. So... Pierre's got to play those. Can't let the computer do that.
Well, I've never even tackled the EX because I have, it's one of these things where, you know what, I have the feeling I won't even make it to but so maybe that's
so you haven't done any of the Lost Chapter EXs?
No.
So
we can do a progress check.
You don't have any of the Lost Chapters complete? Oh yeah, you can definitely do some of the first Lost Chapters.
See, let me go here. We're running a bit on time for this show, so I really don't want to drag it on. Let's see, Lost Chapters. If I go to Squall Hard, I have all of them completed except Part 8 and Part 10.
Don't you have Squall?
I do.
With his 35 CP?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you should be able to beat Squall and Eiko without any problem.
Anyway.
That's what you should start with on Friday.
All right, I'll do that. I'll do them in order. All right, okay. I really want to hit that one because I prepared so hard. Question of the week. The question comes from LikeASir. That's Dropman17. He says, create a character not yet released in Japan. Pick their 2 abilities and what they do. His example was Red 13. First ability, Sled Fang, a brave attack, defense makes max brave down and speed attack boost. His second ability would would be Lunatic High, a Brave plus HP attack. Brave damage returns and divided among other party members. We also had 2 people participate on this through our Twitter feed. Again, our Twitter account is FFTCC Podcast. The first one didn't try very hard. Basically, the answer that we got from that person was Riku, 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 Riku. Please give me Riku for all that is holy. That was his answer. The second one tried a little harder. And give me 1 second as I try and log into my Twitter account here. The second one came from, come on, don't be a douche, Chrome. Okay, the second one came from, I am Zay Captain. He wants to have Bosch/Judge Gabrant. His first skill will be Fulminating Darkness/Oblivion, a single target elemental null 4-hit magic brave attack, and his second would be Rune Impedent/Unflinching, a group 2-hit melee brave attack plus HP attack, HP damage not shared, and his bonus EX ability would be Flame/Frost Purge. So that was his suggestion. Thank you for both of you for answering this on Twitter. Now, as I said at the beginning of the show, I got this all planned. Now, obviously, and I'm sorry, I should ask you guys if you want to start, but I'm way too excited not to do this. My character is General Leo from Final Fantasy VI. You might remember General Leo from my FFRK campaign of bring General Leo in the game or I will murder Pikachus all over the world, which ended up working because they did add General Leo. So General Leo he's going to be a sword user, orange crystal. His 2 abilities are as follow. Chivalry, raise defense based on attack, force enemy attack for 3 turns, so he locks the enemy attacks on him. So he's a bit of a tank. His second ability is so basically he raises his defense based on his attack. So the more you boost his attack, the more defense is going to have when you use Chivalry. His second ability is Shock. Deals 3 brave holy attack to all characters, because as you remember, the Shock attack in Final Fantasy VI was AoE. Now obviously these abilities by themselves are a bit lame, we all know this. So that's why he's got weapons. So he's got a 15 CP called Defender that makes Chivalry 6 turn and will increase the defense that he gets by 1.5 instead of 1. So he gets much better of a tank. His 35 CP will be Imperial Hideblade. Now obviously Leo not having too much lore because he dies pretty quickly once he gets introduced in your party. Spoilers. I went with the Final Fantasy Record Keeper weapons. So, Imperial Highblade will make Shock. It turns Shock into Shock Plus. It makes the attack a 5. So it turns Shock into a 5 Bravery Holy attack plus HP attack and increases turn rate for Shock. So, and finally is 30 or something CP armor is his long coat, and with all the other armor it gives the same freaking advantage. So these are my selections. Square Enix, you are free to use this. I've already done the work for you. Please introduce General Leo at your earliest convenience. And send me one of each item. That'll be good. That'll be payment for me. You guys?
Mark, you got anything?
Wow. Not that well thought out.
Same. Mine's really slapdash.
Yeah, so my idea, since there really is a limited number of characters that aren't out yet, and some of my favorite characters aren't out but have been released recently. So one that has not been released in Japan would be Aranea Highwind, one of my favorite characters from Final Fantasy 15, who's not a bro. That's how you recognize who she is in Final Fantasy 15, because she's not a bro. So her first attack would be Roundhouse Kick, an AoE Brave attack that paralyzes all targets. Because why not? Her second attack would be a HP multiplier attack called High Wind, which would be a ranged attack that would do massive damage. And then her EX special ability would be Biggs and Wedge, and she would call Biggs and Wedge, and they would hit you with a train. So they have a train or guns. I don't know, whatever. I just wanted to throw in Biggs and Wedge.
Yeah. I know.
I didn't like have weapons and stuff. I'm sorry.
All right, I guess it's my turn. I have the laziest of all the suggestions. Let's see. I thought about this a lot. No, I thought about it briefly, and I'm gonna say, since Japan's giving all those reworks right now, where they're completely retooling people's kits, I would have liked an FF11 character, and I'm just gonna go with Shantoto here, because Shantoto is one of my favorite characters, and she got the short end of the stick this entire run. And I was hoping 11's whole mechanic is similar to Prish's, where you combine different elements and get different results. I felt like Shantoto, who's supposed to be the best mage ever from that game, could have a rework where she has her base elements now, because right now all she can hit is wind and dark.
Yep.
And Prish can hit like 4 different elements or something ridiculous like that. And since they introduced the ability to hit multiple elements at once, I would like her to get a Prish-like chain where after she casted her elements, she can cast another, like Prish, it would transform into 2 different abilities, and then they would hit, and then like Vaughn, a third ability would come out and it would apply a debuff or something cool like that. I don't know if you two have played FF11, but that's how the battle system worked, where if you combine elements, you get different results.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. I just want Shantoto to be good once. Please, developers. Just once. Make her not a joke. Okay.
All right.
She's pretty good in FFRK.
Yeah, in every other game, she's great, but she's terrible in Dissidia.
Shin Mobius?
Is she?
Mobius.
I don't know.
I think she is a Mobius, actually, yeah.
She is? Really? I need to look that up.
All right. Next week's question is going to be, how important is 100% completion to you, and will falling behind in the event impact your overall game experience? So if you have an answer to that, please leave it in Twitter, Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave it in the comments. You can also email us at kupo@tccpodcast.com. I'll repeat all of these in a few minutes. So that's going to be the question for next week. Now, upcoming events, we've got a Devoted Heart. It hurts me to say heart. That started 22 minutes ago at the time of this recording. And if that was not enough, in 3 days there's going to be the Final Fantasy VII Sid event that's also going to be starting. So by the time we do this next week, we'll have 2 new events to talk to you about, and hopefully some more Lost Chapter strategies from our other mastermind here, Mark Myers.
You mean you're going to have my no Sephiroth, Papalamo, Aiko, Sahz, Lena EX strategy?
Yes, I hope so. Let's see it.
This or you crying in a ball under your desk. So any parting words before we conclude this marvelous podcast for tonight, guys?
Mark?
Good night.
Same. We went way over the limit. Good podcast. we'll have plenty more. This is a ton of content this month. We have a lot to talk about.
Definitely. Last thing, I started with this. I want to end with this. Make sure you hit the show notes and that you look at the Extra Life, a call to all Warriors of Light post that's on Reddit. It's important stuff for the kids. It needs your attention. If you only participate in a non-financial way, it's better than not participating at all. So please take a look at it. That's all we ask of you. Again, all of our social media contacts are at tccpodcast.com. That's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and all of the other crap. Email is kupo@tccpodcast.com. Tonight we had a high of all time number of Twitch viewers with us. Thank you very much. You guys were great. So thank you, everyone. That was episode 26, recorded on October 10th, 2018. And we'll be with you guys next week on the same Bat Twitch channels. Have a good one and keep on saving those gems.